No one remembers the exact moment when a house becomes something more than walls and furniture. It doesn't announce itself. There's no sound, no signal, no warning. It usually happens quietly. In that house, it happened the night the German shepherd stopped sleeping at the foot of the stairs and chose the hallway instead. At the time, no one questioned it. They assumed it was just another habit forming, another small adjustment in a home already filled with change. The nursery had been prepared weeks earlier, the crib assembled, the walls painted a soft, uncertain color that hovered between green and gray, tiny clothes folded with care, bottles lined neatly on the counter, diapers stacked like bricks against exhaustion that hadn't arrived yet. The dog had watched all of it. She watched the boxes come in. She watched the furniture move. She watched strangers step into rooms they had never entered before. And she remembered everything. Her name was Ayla. She was a full-grown German shepherd, trained, disciplined, intelligent in a way that went beyond commands. She had once worked as a K9 years before an injury ended her service and brought her into this quieter life. Even retired, the training never left her. Her posture was always alert. Her eyes always measured distance, sound, intention. But there was something else about Ayla that night. She didn't pace. She didn't whine. She didn't ask for reassurance. She simply laid down in the hallway, facing the nursery door, and stayed there all night. The baby hadn't arrived yet. The house was silent, except for the hum of appliances and the soft breathing of the adults upstairs. Ayla lay still, head resting on her paws, ears angled just enough to catch anything unfamiliar. She slept lightly, dreamed deeply, and woke up seconds before the first contraction ever hit. No one noticed that either. Months earlier, the same house had held a different kind of silence. It had come after the blankets were washed and folded away too soon, after the vet visits that grew quieter, shorter, heavier, after hope became something no one spoke out loud anymore. Ayla had been a mother once, not in the way humans imagine motherhood, but in the way animals experience it, pure, instinctive, absolute. She had carried life inside her, felt it move, felt it grow. When the time came, she had delivered her litter with determination, exhaustion, and an intensity that left her trembling. She cleaned them. She nudged them closer. She counted them with her nose. And then one by one, they stopped breathing. There were no dramatic moments, no chaos, just small stillnesses that shouldn't have existed, tiny bodies that refused to warm, tiny sounds that never came. The humans tried everything: warm towels, emergency calls, late-night drives. But nature didn't listen. By the end of the week, the box was empty. Ayla didn't understand death the way humans do, but she understood absence. She understood when warmth disappears, when sound doesn't return, when searching brings nothing back. For days, she searched. She checked corners. She sniffed blankets. She curled around empty space. Milk dried painfully in her body with nowhere to go. Her instincts had nowhere to land. Her purpose had nowhere to rest. She guarded nothing, and that somehow hurt the most. When the baby finally came home, no one expected Ayla to react the way she did. They expected curiosity, maybe confusion, possibly jealousy. Instead, she froze. The sound of the newborn's cry reached her before the door even opened. Ayla lifted her head sharply, ears fully upright, body already shifting into motion. The sound wasn't loud, it wasn't urgent, but it was familiar. Too familiar. She walked to the nursery before anyone told her to, before anyone introduced her, before anyone said her name. She stood still, staring at the crib. Inside it, something small moved, something fragile, something alive. The crying stopped, not because the baby had calmed, but because Ayla had laid down beside the crib and pressed her body gently against the wood. Her breathing slowed, her muscles relaxed, her eyes softened, but never closed. That night, she didn't leave, and from that moment on, neither did her purpose. The parents began noticing changes before they noticed reasons. The baby slept longer than expected, cried less than the books predicted, calmed faster, even without being held. Doctors called it temperament. Family called it luck. Ayla called it vigilance. She followed feeding times with quiet patience. She inspected every blanket before it touched the baby's skin. When visitors arrived, she positioned herself just close enough to be seen, just far enough to stay calm. She never barked. She watched. When the baby learned to roll, Ayla adjusted her position. When crawling started, she followed inches behind. When sleep came, Ayla stayed awake, always listening. always counting breaths. The moment that would later be replayed over and over again on the security camera happened on an ordinary afternoon. The baby had been placed on the couch, surrounded by pillows. The parents turned away for seconds. Seconds they had taken before, seconds they trusted. The baby moved, slid, fell, and didn't cry. Ayla didn't bark, didn't panic, didn't wait. In one smooth, controlled motion, she stepped forward and lowered her body, positioning herself between the baby and the floor. The impact landed on her side, absorbed completely, steady as if rehearsed 1,000 times. The baby was safe. The house was silent. Only later would the parents understand what they had witnessed. Only later would they realize this wasn't coincidence. This was instinct awakening, and it wasn't done yet. If you asked the parents when they first started to feel uneasy, they would point to the day of the fall, the moment the baby slid off the couch and didn't cry. But that wasn't the beginning. That was only the first moment they saw what had been happening all along. The truth was, Ayla had been tracking danger in the house long before anyone realized there was something to track. Not danger with teeth or claws, not the kind of threat that announces itself, the kind that slips in quietly. A bad cable, a loose latch, a room that's too warm, a blanket folded the wrong way, a visitor who smiles while their body stays stiff. Tiny shifts. Ayla noticed them all, and she didn't respond like a pet. She responded like a K9. Ayla's training had never been the cute kind. She hadn't been taught tricks. She hadn't been raised to sit pretty for treats or roll over on command. Her world had been structure, signals, scent, timing, discipline. She had spent years learning how to read a human body the way humans read words on a page. A twitch of a hand, a breathing pattern, a heartbeat rising under skin, a lie told through sweat. Even retired, her brain never stopped sorting information. When the baby arrived, that ability didn't fade, it sharpened, because the baby didn't move like an adult, didn't smell like an adult, didn't breathe like an adult. Babies were a whole new language, and Ayla learned it faster than anyone. The first weeks were a blur for the parents. Late nights, bottle measurements, laundry piles growing like snowdrifts. Their eyes burned from lack of sleep. Their days lost their edges. The house became a rhythm of feeding, burping, rocking, trying again. Ayla became part of that rhythm so naturally that at some point, the parents stopped noticing she was always there, until they did. It started with small things. Ayla would step into the nursery before the baby made a sound. Not when the baby cried, before. The mother would wake up to the faint creak of floorboards and see Ayla standing beside the crib, ears forward, eyes fixed on the child. A second later, the baby would stir and whimper, then cry. It happened once, then twice, then so many times it became unsettling. "Maybe she hears better than us," the father said one night, trying to make it sound simple. "She's a dog," the mother replied, but her voice carried something else, an uncertainty that didn't come from logic, because Ayla wasn't just hearing better, she was anticipating, like she knew what was coming. After the couch incident, the parents rewatched the security footage the way people rewatch near misses, with shaking hands and a stomach that won't settle. The video showed the baby rolling, sliding, tipping, then Ayla. The smoothness of it was what made it terrifying. There was no hesitation, no scramble, no panic, just a movement so precise it looked practiced, like she had calculated angles and timing, like she had already decided her body was worth sacrificing. The baby landed on her side like a feather. No cry, no shock. Ayla's head immediately dipped, nose checking the baby's face, then body shifting to hold the child steady. Then, only then, she looked toward the camera. For a fraction of a second, her eyes met the lens. And the parents felt something they couldn't name. Not guilt, not gratitude. Something colder, something like being watched by someone who had been awake while they were asleep. Someone who had been protecting their child the whole time, without being asked. In the days after, they became more careful. Pillows arranged tighter, gates installed, cabinets locked. The father researched baby-proofing lists like it was a survival manual. The mother checked the baby monitor so often, she started seeing phantom movements even when the screen was still. And Ayla adjusted, not with relief, with readiness. It was as if the house had moved into a new phase in her mind. More risk, more vigilance required. She began patrolling at night, not restlessly, not anxiously, purposefully. A slow, quiet circuit from nursery to hallway to stairs and back again. Every few minutes, she would pause near the baby's door and listen. Sometimes she would press her nose to the crack beneath it, inhaling like she was checking the air. The parents thought she was simply being protective. Until one afternoon, when the mother noticed something strange. Ayla was standing in the nursery. The baby was asleep, and Ayla was staring at the ceiling vent. Not playing, not sniffing, just staring, still as stone. The mother followed her gaze, then laughed softly. "What girl? Ghosts?" Ayla didn't react. Her ears tilted, then her nose lifted slightly. The mother stepped closer, curious now, and placed her hand near the vent. Warm air flowed out. Too warm. The heating system was stuck. The room was getting hotter by the minute. The mother's laughter disappeared. She adjusted the thermostat, then opened a window. The baby stirred, sighing, still asleep. Ayla remained there until the air cooled. Only then did she lie down. The mother stood in the doorway for a long time afterward, staring at the dog. Ayla didn't look back. She didn't need to. That was the thing about Ayla. She didn't seek praise. She didn't perform for attention. She didn't wag wildly and beg for approval. She acted like a guardian who believed the work itself mattered more than recognition. But it wasn't only danger she monitored. It was emotion. The baby's emotion, yes, but also the parents'. When the mother cried quietly in the kitchen after a difficult day, Ayla would appear without being called, sit beside her, and press her weight against her leg. Not demanding, just present. When the father grew frustrated during a long night, voice rising, hands shaking, Ayla would move between him and the crib, not aggressively but firmly, her body a calm barrier, as if reminding him, breathe, slow down. She feels everything you feel. It wasn't a threat. It was discipline, the kind a K9 had learned in environments where chaos could kill someone. The father would always lower his voice afterward, rubbing his face, ashamed. Ayla would then step aside. Work done. One evening, the parents decided they needed to reintroduce Ayla to guests. The baby had been home long enough now. Family and friends wanted to meet. Life was supposed to return to normal, so they invited the mother's sister and her husband over for dinner. The sister, Claire, was warm and loud, bringing a casserole and a bag full of baby gifts. She squealed when she saw the baby, cooing and laughing. Her husband, Mark, was quieter, polite, a little stiff. Ayla watched him the moment he stepped through the door, not with aggression, with analysis. Mark smiled, but his shoulders were tight. His eyes moved quickly, scanning the room before settling on the baby. Ayla shifted closer to the nursery entrance. The mother noticed and tried to laugh it off. "She's so protective now," she said. "She thinks she's the baby's bodyguard." Claire laughed. "That's adorable." Mark chuckled too, but the sound didn't reach his eyes. When they sat down to eat, Ayla lay near the baby's playmat, still and silent. Mark leaned forward, elbows on his knees, watching the baby wiggle. "She's beautiful," he said. "Thank you," the mother replied. Mark reached out slowly, as if to touch the baby's hand. Ayla moved. Not fast, not threatening, but she stepped forward and placed her head between Mark's fingers and the baby. A soft block, a warning without sound. Mark froze, then pulled his hand back, smile tightening. "Guess she doesn't like me," he said lightly. "She's just careful," the father replied, but his voice carried discomfort now. He hadn't seen Ayla do that before. Claire laughed again. "Ayla, stop being dramatic." Ayla didn't move. Her eyes stayed on Mark. Her breathing stayed calm, but her body was tense, ready. Mark eventually stood, stepping back toward the kitchen. Ayla relaxed, like a lock clicking into place. The mother swallowed, suddenly uneasy. Not because she believed Mark was dangerous, but because Ayla was acting like she did. And Ayla had never been wrong about the vent, or the crying, or the fall. Later that night, after the guests left, the mother checked the baby. Ayla was already there, lying beside the crib, eyes open. "She didn't like Mark," the mother whispered. The father sighed. "Maybe he smelled like a different dog, or something. He has that big cologne, right?" The mother watched Ayla, who didn't blink. "I don't think it was cologne," she said quietly. The father didn't answer. He didn't want to, because admitting otherwise would mean admitting something else, that their dog was noticing a threat they couldn't, and that was a thought that made a home feel less safe, not more. That night, the mother dreamed of a nursery that wasn't theirs. A room she didn't recognize, a small box lined with blankets, empty. She woke with her heart racing. Ayla was standing beside the bed, staring at her, not whining, not asking, just staring, as if she had been waiting for the mother to wake up. The mother's mouth went dry. "What is it, girl?" Ayla turned and walked out of the room. The mother followed, barefoot on the cold floor. Ayla led her straight to the nursery, stopped, looked at the crib. The baby was still asleep, face peaceful. The mother stared, confused. Then she heard it, a faint sound, wet, wrong, a baby's breath catching, a subtle, strangled hiccup. The mother's stomach dropped. She rushed forward, lifting the baby gently. The baby's lips were a little pale, eyes fluttering, a tiny cough, then silence again. The mother panicked, calling the father's name. He rushed in, half asleep, eyes wide. "What's happening?" The baby made a weak sound. Ayla barked once, sharp, urgent. The sound snapped the father fully awake. He grabbed the baby monitor cord, nearly tripping. The mother held the baby upright, patting the back, trying to remember the steps they had read, practiced, never thought they'd need. A tiny burp, a small spit-up. The baby inhaled again, this time deeper, stronger. Color returned slowly. The mother collapsed into a chair, shaking. The father leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Ayla stood beside them still, as if she had already moved past fear and into assessment. The baby calmed, eyes half closed, drifting back towards sleep. The room was quiet again, but the parents were changed, because the baby monitor had not made a sound, no alarm, no warning. The baby had been seconds away from something they didn't want to name, and Ayla had known, before any technology did, before any adult did. In the morning, the father watched the security footage again, different clip this time, night vision, the nursery dim and grey, the baby sleeping. Ayla lying beside the crib. Then at 2:13 a.m. Ayla's head lifted. She stared, then stood, moved closer, pressed her nose near the baby's face. The baby's breathing changed, becoming shallow. Ayla's posture shifted instantly. She turned and ran, to the hallway, then to the parents' door, pawing, barking, over and over. The father and mother burst out seconds later, exactly as the footage showed. The father rewound, watched again and again. His throat tightened every time, because the footage proved something he couldn't dismiss anymore. Ayla hadn't reacted to the parents. Ayla hadn't reacted to sound. Ayla had reacted to a change in breathing so subtle the monitor didn't detect it, like she was counting breaths with her own body, like she was mothering again. That evening, the mother sat on the floor of the nursery, watching Ayla sleep beside the crib. "I didn't know dogs could," she swallowed, "could mourn." The father nodded, staring at the wall. "We should have known," he said quietly, "after the puppies." They hadn't talked about the puppies much, not because they didn't care, but because it made them feel helpless. They had watched Ayla search for days, sniffing corners, curling around empty blankets. They had watched her lie awake at night, eyes open, guarding absence. They had told themselves she would move on, because humans needed that story, that grief ends neatly, that an animal's heart can't hold pain like a human's can. Now they weren't sure, because Ayla's devotion to the baby wasn't casual affection, it was purpose, a repair, a promise, and maybe something deeper, something they didn't fully understand. 2 days later, another incident happened. Not with breathing, not with falling, with sound. The baby was on the playmat, batting at a soft toy, when a loud bang came from the kitchen. A cabinet door had swung shut on its own. The mother jumped, the baby startled, eyes widening. Before the baby could cry, Ayla moved. She placed her body over the baby, not crushing, not heavy, just sheltering. Her ears pinned forward, her eyes locked on the kitchen. The mother stood frozen. The cabinet door hung half open, trembling slightly, as if someone had just slammed it. But no one had. The house was still. The air felt different. Ayla remained over the baby until the mother approached, checked the kitchen, and ensured there was no danger. Only then did Ayla relax. The mother tried to laugh it off. "Draft," she said, but her voice was thin, because the windows were closed, and the sound had been too hard, too intentional. That night, the mother couldn't sleep. She lay awake listening to the baby's breathing through the monitor, eyes burning in the dark. The father was asleep beside her, exhausted. At 1:47 a.m., Ayla barked once from the hallway, not frantic, not urgent. A single bark that sounded like an alert. Then silence. The mother sat up, heart pounding. The monitor screen showed the nursery. The baby sleeping. Ayla wasn't visible. The mother waited. Nothing. Then, on the monitor, the baby's blanket moved slightly. The mother's blood turned cold. The baby didn't move. The blanket shifted again, just a little, as if something beneath it was adjusting. The mother stared, unable to breathe. Her hand reached for the father's shoulder, but before she touched him, Ayla appeared on the monitor. She stepped into view slowly, head low, ears forward, her gaze fixed on the crib. She didn't bark. She didn't jump. She stared at the blanket like it was a living thing. Then she moved closer, sniffing. The blanket stopped moving. Ayla didn't relax. Her body remained tense like a spring held back. The mother shook the father awake. "Look," she whispered. He blinked, confused, then looked at the screen. "What am I?" The blanket moved again, this time more clearly. Not like a breeze, like fingers. The father sat up fully, heart hammering. Ayla's lips pulled back slightly, not a growl, not aggression, just a warning expression that said, "I see you." Then Ayla did something the parents had never seen before. She lifted one paw and tapped the crib, softly, deliberately, like she was signaling. The baby's breathing changed, a tiny whimper. The blanket went still. Ayla stayed there, staring. The parents stared too, frozen in fear and confusion. Then the baby shifted, sighed and settled, and the blanket did not move again. The father whispered, voice tight, Did you see that?" The mother nodded, tears forming. Ayla finally lay down beside the crib, but she did not close her eyes. She kept watching the blanket, as if she expected it to move again, as if she knew something the humans didn't. And in the quiet that followed, the parents realized something terrifying. The house wasn't just being guarded from accidents anymore. It was being guarded from something else, something unseen, something that made a retired K9, calm, trained, controlled, choose to stay awake all night. Something that had started moving in their home, right after the baby arrived. After the night of the moving blanket, the parents stopped pretending everything had a simple explanation. They didn't say it out loud, not at first. Saying it would give it shape, weight, reality. And once something becomes real, it demands action. So instead, they watched. They watched Ayla, they watched the house, and they watched each other, measuring fear in silence. Morning came like nothing had happened. Sunlight spilled through the nursery curtains. The baby woke with soft sounds, stretching, blinking into the world with complete trust. No sign of distress, no sign of danger. Ayla lay beside the crib, eyes open, body relaxed, but ready. The mother stood in the doorway for a long time, arms crossed tightly over her chest. "Did I imagine it?" she finally asked. The father shook his head. No, he had replayed the footage again, slower this time, frame by frame. The blanket movement wasn't clear enough to prove anything. Cameras didn't capture intent. They captured pixels and shadows. But Ayla's behavior, that was unmistakable. Her posture, her tension, her focus, that was a trained response, not fear, recognition. The father had known Ayla's history when they adopted her, but he had never looked at it closely. She was described as retired K9, medically cleared, temperament stable. That was enough at the time. Now it wasn't. He pulled up old files, emails from the agency, notes he'd skimmed years ago. Ayla hadn't just been a patrol dog. She had been trained for scent discrimination, search and alert, and threat assessment. Not attack, assessment. Her job hadn't been to engage danger, but to identify it before it escalated. She had worked in environments where threats didn't always have faces, where danger hid in stillness, where silence meant something was wrong. And suddenly everything made sense in the worst possible way. That afternoon, the mother noticed Ayla doing something new. She was circling the nursery. Not pacing, circling. Slow, deliberate loops around the crib, nose low, ears alert. The baby was awake, babbling softly. "Ayla?" the mother called gently. Ayla paused, but didn't come. Instead, she sniffed one corner of the room more intensely than the others, the corner near the rocking chair. The mother frowned. She walked over, checking behind the chair. Nothing. She checked the wall, the floor, the baseboard. Nothing. Ayla sat down in front of the chair, staring at the space beneath it. Her body blocked the baby from that side of the room. The mother's pulse quickened. She knelt and looked again. Still nothing. "Okay," she whispered, mostly to herself. "Okay." She picked up the baby and left the room. Ayla followed closely, positioning herself between the baby and the nursery doorway as they exited. That night, Ayla slept inside the nursery instead of beside it. She had never done that before. The parents didn't talk about it over dinner. They talked about grocery lists, diapers, weather, but their eyes kept drifting toward the hallway, toward the nursery door, toward Ayla. The baby went to sleep easily, breathing slow and steady. The mother checked the monitor. The screen showed the crib. Ayla lay beside it. Then something else. A shadow, not moving, just there. The mother leaned closer to the screen. "Do you see that?" she asked. The father squinted. "See what?" The shadow shifted slightly when Ayla lifted her head. The mother's stomach dropped. "That," she whispered. The father stared longer this time. The shadow wasn't shaped like furniture. It wasn't a trick of light. It was vertical, too tall, too narrow, standing near the corner of the room. Ayla stood up, her ears flattened, her body stiffened. She stared directly at the shadow. Then she did something that erased all doubt. She growled, low, controlled. A warning growl, the kind trained dogs use when they're not panicking, but asserting dominance. The shadow didn't move. The baby stirred. Ayla stepped closer to the crib, placing herself fully between the baby and the corner. Her growl deepened. The shadow flickered. The monitor glitched. Static washed across the screen. Then everything went back to normal. The nursery appeared empty again. The father's hands were shaking. "Turn on the lights," he said. The mother didn't argue. They rushed down the hall. The nursery was empty. Just the crib, the chair, the walls. Ayla stood by the crib, breathing hard, eyes locked on the corner. She didn't relax when they entered. She only relaxed when the father turned on every light in the room. The shadow didn't return. But the sense of being watched did. They didn't sleep that night. They took turns sitting awake, watching the monitor, watching Ayla. Ayla didn't lie down once. She stayed standing, facing the same corner, as if she was guarding against something she knew might come back. And the terrifying part wasn't the shadow. It was the certainty in her posture. Because Ayla wasn't confused. She wasn't startled. She was prepared. The next morning, the mother called the veterinarian. Not about illness, about behavior. "I think something's wrong with our dog," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. The vet asked questions, eating habits, aggression, anxiety. "No," the mother said. "She's calm, too calm." The vet paused. "Has anything changed in the household recently?" she asked. The mother looked at the baby sleeping in her arms. "Yes," she said. Silence on the other end. Then, carefully, "Sometimes animals respond to emotional shifts. Babies change dynamics. Dogs can become protective. This feels different," the mother whispered. The vet hesitated. "Does your dog have a working background?" "Yes." "Then trust her," the vet said quietly. "Working dogs don't invent threats. They react to stimuli we don't always perceive." The line went dead. The mother sat in silence afterward, holding the baby tighter. That evening, the father noticed something else. Ayla refused to leave the house. Normally, she loved walks, loved the outside. Now she planted her paws at the door, refusing to cross the threshold unless the baby was inside the carrier, held by one of them. When the baby stayed home, Ayla stayed home. When the baby left, Ayla followed, as if the boundary of her protection had expanded beyond rooms, beyond walls. She was mapping something, and she didn't want the baby exposed. That night, the shadow returned. Not in the nursery, in the hallway. The baby was asleep in the parents' room, crib beside the bed. Ayla lay between the crib and the door. At 3:02 a.m. she stood up, her head turned slowly toward the hallway, her ears pinned back, her body stiffened. The father sat up instantly. "What is it?" he whispered. Ayla didn't look at him. She took one step forward, then another, stopping just before the doorway. The hallway beyond was dark, too dark. The darkness looked thicker somehow. The mother's breath caught. A shape moved within the darkness, not stepping, not walking, sliding. Ayla growled again, louder this time. The baby stirred. The shape froze. Ayla barked. Once, sharp, commanding. The sound echoed through the house. The hallway light flicked on. The darkness vanished. The shape disappeared. The hallway was empty. The parents sat frozen, hearts pounding. Ayla stayed in the doorway, staring at the empty space. Her tail didn't move. Her body stayed tense, as if she was waiting for something to try again. In the silence that followed, the mother whispered something she hadn't planned to say. "She lost her puppies," she said. The father turned to her. "She's not just protecting the baby," the mother continued, voice trembling. "She's replacing something." The father swallowed. "She's mothering," he said. Ayla finally turned her head and looked at them. Her eyes were steady, focused, not confused, not afraid. as if she understood exactly what was being said, as if she agreed. That was the night they realized something else. Whatever was in the house, whatever was watching, it wasn't interested in them. It was interested in the baby, and Ayla knew it. She had known it from the beginning, from the first night she chose the hallway, from the first cry she answered before it happened, from the first shadow she positioned herself against. This wasn't coincidence. This was instinct, sharpened by loss. This was training meeting grief. This was a guardian who had already failed once, and would not fail again. By the fourth night, fear had settled into the house like dust, thin, invisible, everywhere. It didn't scream. It didn't announce itself. It simply existed. The parents moved differently now, slower, quieter, as if loud movements might invite something back. They spoke in whispers, even during the day. They triple-checked doors that had always been locked. They left lights on where darkness used to live comfortably. And Ayla? Ayla never rested. Working dogs are trained to endure. They're trained to hold position, to stay alert for hours, to ignore pain, hunger, exhaustion. But even the best training has limits. Limits defined by the body, by biology, by time. Ayla was pushing past those limits. The father noticed it first. Her meals went untouched longer than usual. She still ate, but quickly, mechanically, never taking her eyes off the baby. She drank water only when the baby slept, and even then she kept her head lifted between gulps. Her body showed signs of strain, muscles tight, movements rigid, breathing shallow when she thought no one was watching. But the moment the baby stirred, she straightened, ready, every time. On the fifth day after the shadow appeared in the hallway, the mother insisted they do something. "We can't just wait," she said, pacing the living room while holding the baby. "Whatever this is, it's getting closer. You saw it." "I saw something," the father replied. "I don't know what." "Neither do I," she snapped, "but Ayla does." As if summoned, Ayla lifted her head, her ears angled toward the front door. Then she stood. The father followed her gaze. Someone was outside. The doorbell rang. Both parents jumped. Ayla moved instantly, placing herself between the baby and the door, her posture tall, controlled, authoritative. The father swallowed. "I'll get it." Ayla didn't growl. She didn't bark. She simply stayed there, blocking the path. "It's okay," the father said quietly, though his heart raced. "Stay." Ayla didn't move. The doorbell rang again. The mother shifted the baby higher on her shoulder. Who could that be? They hadn't invited anyone. The father cracked the door open slowly. A woman stood outside, mid-40s, practical coat, tired eyes that looked like they had seen too much and learned not to ask questions anymore. "Sorry to bother you," she said calmly. "My name is Dr. Helen Moore. I'm a behavioral specialist." The father frowned. "We didn't call—" "You didn't," she interrupted gently. "But your veterinarian did." The mother's breath caught. Helen glanced past him into the house. Her eyes landed on Ayla. She didn't smile. She nodded. "There you are," Helen said softly. Ayla stared back, and for the first time since the baby had come home, Ayla wagged her tail, just once. Low, subtle, recognition. They sat in the living room. Helen listened. She didn't interrupt. She didn't dismiss. She didn't laugh when they spoke about shadows, moving blankets, or a dog that seemed to predict danger before it existed. Instead, she watched Ayla, constantly. "She's not reacting," Helen finally said. "She's responding." "To what?" the mother asked, voice trembling. Helen folded her hands. "To a presence." The room went silent. The father's mouth went dry. "You're saying—" "I'm saying animals perceive things we filter out," Helen said carefully. "And working dogs, and especially canines, are trained to trust those perceptions." She turned to Ayla. "You're exhausted," Helen murmured. Ayla didn't lie down. She stepped closer to the baby. Helen nodded slowly. "Yes, that confirms it." "Confirms what?" the mother whispered. "That whatever this is," Helen said, "it's attached to the child." The baby shifted, making a soft sound. Ayla leaned closer. Helen's jaw tightened. "And Ayla is actively shielding her." Helen asked to see the nursery. The moment they stepped inside, Ayla's entire body changed. Her ears flattened, her muscles coiled. Her eyes locked on the same corner near the rocking chair. Helen followed her gaze. She felt it instantly. A pressure, a heaviness, not fear, a tension. "This room," Helen said slowly, "is wrong." The father's chest tightened. "What do we do?" Helen exhaled. "First, we confirm." She pulled a small device from her bag, Not a camera, not a meter, just a recorder. Sound frequencies, she explained. Sometimes disturbances leave traces. She placed it near the crib. The baby slept peacefully. Ayla stood guard. The device remained silent. Then, at 11:46 p.m., it crackled. A low-frequency hum filled the room. Ayla growled instantly. The baby's breathing hitched. Helen grabbed the device. The hum spiked. The lights flickered. The shadow appeared again, clearer this time. Taller, closer. Helen's breath caught. "That's not residual," she whispered. "That's active." The shadow leaned toward the crib. Ayla lunged forward, not attacking, not biting, but placing her body fully over the baby. The shadow recoiled. The lights went out. Darkness swallowed the room. The baby cried. Helen shouted, "Turn the lights on!" The father fumbled for the switch. Light flooded the nursery. The shadow vanished. Ayla collapsed, not asleep, not relaxed. Collapsed. Her legs buckled beneath her. The mother screamed. They rushed her to the emergency clinic. Ayla lay on the back seat, breathing shallowly, eyes open but distant. The baby cried softly in the mother's arms. Helen sat beside Ayla, one hand on her chest. "She overextended," Helen said. "She's been in constant alert mode. Her body can't sustain it." The father's voice shook. "Is she dying?" Helen hesitated. "She's sacrificing herself," she said honestly. The word hit harder than anything else had. Sacrificing. For a baby that wasn't hers. For a life born from the grief of her own loss. At the clinic, Ayla was stabilized. IV fluids. Monitoring. The vet shook his head in disbelief. "I've never seen a dog do this voluntarily." Helen met his gaze. "She's not a dog right now." The mother broke down, tears spilling freely. "If we lose her—" "You won't," Helen said firmly. "Not if we act." "How?" the father demanded. Helen looked at Ayla, unconscious but still positioned protectively even in sleep. "We have to break the attachment," she said. "Not between the dog and the baby, between the presence and the child." "And if we can't?" the mother whispered. Helen didn't answer immediately, because she already knew. Ayla would try anyway, even if it killed her. That night, the baby slept in the parents' room. Ayla remained at the clinic. For the first time since birth, the baby slept without her guardian nearby. At 2:04 a.m., the baby cried, hard, panicked. The monitor alarm screamed. The mother bolted upright. The father rushed to the crib. The baby's breathing stuttered, then stopped. The lights flickered. The shadow appeared, right beside the crib. The mother screamed, and then a bark echoed through the house. Impossible. Ayla wasn't there. But the bark was unmistakable, strong, commanding. The shadow froze. The baby gasped. Breathing returned. The shadow vanished. The room went still. The parents stood shaking, holding their child. Miles away at the clinic, Ayla lifted her head and barked once, then collapsed again. In that moment, the parents understood the truth. Distance didn't matter. Walls didn't matter. Ayla's bond to the baby wasn't physical. It was instinct. It was grief transformed into protection. And whatever was trying to take their child, it knew it was losing. But it wasn't done. By the time Ayla was brought home from the clinic, the house no longer felt like a home. It felt like a threshold, something waiting on one side, something standing guard on the other. Ayla moved slowly when she stepped through the front door, her body still weak, her gait unsteady. But the moment she crossed the doorway, something inside her shifted. Her head lifted, her ears sharpened, her eyes focused. She ignored the water bowl placed gently in front of her, ignored the blanket the mother laid out, ignored the father's trembling hands reaching to steady her. She went straight to the nursery. The baby was sleeping. Ayla lay down beside the crib, chest rising and falling unevenly, but her body positioned exactly as it always was, between the child and the darkest corner of the room. Helen stood in the doorway watching. "It followed you home," Helen said quietly. The father felt his stomach drop. "You mean it's here now?" Helen nodded. "It never left." That night, Helen prepared the house. She didn't bring candles or symbols. She didn't chant or whisper. She didn't treat what was happening like superstition. She treated it like containment. She moved furniture. She closed off rooms. She marked thresholds with simple, practical barriers. Salt, iron, sound. But the most important part wasn't what she placed. It was what she removed. "The nursery can't be the center anymore," Helen explained. "The presence has anchored itself here because of vulnerability. We have to change the focal point." The mother clutched the baby tighter. "You want us to move her?" "Yes," Helen said. "Tonight." The father hesitated. What about Ayla? Helen looked at the dog. Ayla was watching them, listening, understanding far more than they realized. She decides, Helen said softly. They moved the baby's crib into the parents' bedroom. The nursery was left empty. Lights off, door closed. Ayla stood in the hallway, unmoving. Her body trembled, not from fear but from conflict. Two instincts pulled at her. Guard the baby. Confront the threat. She looked once at the parents' bedroom. Then she turned and walked into the dark nursery alone. The mother gasped. Ayla! Helen raised a hand. Let her. The nursery door closed behind the dog, and the house went silent. Inside the nursery, the air felt thick. The shadow was already there, clear now, defined. It no longer hid in corners. It stood in the center of the room, tall and distorted, its presence bending the air around it. Ayla stood her ground. She didn't bark, she didn't growl. She lowered her body slightly. Not submission, not fear, challenge. The shadow moved closer. The temperature dropped. The lights flickered violently. Ayla's breathing grew heavy. Her legs shook. But she didn't move, because this wasn't about strength. It was about will. The shadow reached toward the crib that was no longer there. Confusion rippled through it. It turned, sensed. The baby wasn't here. Ayla barked. Once. A command. The shadow recoiled. Ayla lunged, not to attack, but to block, forcing the presence backward, away from the doorway, away from the hall, away from the baby. Every step cost her. Her heart raced dangerously. Her body screamed to stop. But grief gave her fuel. Memory gave her purpose. She remembered the empty box, the cold stillness, the searching that never ended. Not again. Never again. In the parents' bedroom, the baby stirred. The monitor crackled. Static bled into sound. Helen's face tightened. It's resisting. The father whispered, Is she okay? Helen closed her eyes. She's choosing, she said. The nursery erupted with noise. A crash. A howl. Not animal, not human. The lights throughout the house exploded into brightness, then darkness. The baby screamed, and then silence. Heavy. Final. The parents ran. Helen followed. They threw open the nursery door. The room was empty. No shadow, no movement, only Ayla, lying in the center of the floor, still. The mother screamed and dropped to her knees. No, 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 please! The father checked her breathing. Nothing. Her chest didn't rise. Helen knelt, hands steady, but eyes wet. She pushed it out, Helen whispered. She broke the anchor. The mother sobbed. At what cost? Helen didn't answer, because she already knew. In the parents' bedroom, the baby slept peacefully. For the first time in weeks, her breathing was deep and steady. No alarms, no shadows, no tension in the air. The house felt empty, but safe. They buried Ayla under the oak tree in the backyard, the place where she used to sit and watch the sunset. They placed her collar on the branch above. The baby was quiet during the service, eyes wide, calm. The mother whispered through tears, She saved you. The baby reached out, touched the collar, smiled. That night, something strange happened. The baby slept. The monitor stayed silent. The house stayed still. But at exactly 2:13 a.m., the time Ayla always used to wake, a soft sound echoed through the hallway. The gentle click of nails on hardwood. The parents sat up. The sound stopped outside the bedroom door. A presence, not heavy, not dark, warm, protective. The baby sighed and settled deeper into sleep. The mother whispered, Did you hear that? The father nodded, tears streaming. Helen's words echoed in their minds. Guardians don't always leave. Ayla never returned as a shadow. She never frightened. She never demanded. But sometimes, late at night, when the house was quiet and the baby breathed evenly, the parents swore they felt it. A calm, a watchfulness, a love that didn't end when a heart stopped beating. Because some guardians are born from grief, and some love is so strong, it refuses to die. The house learned how to breathe again. It didn't happen all at once. It didn't happen easily. But slowly, almost respectfully, the walls released the tension they had been holding. The air no longer felt watched. The corners no longer seemed deeper than they should be. Darkness returned to being just darkness, and silence became gentle. The first thing the parents noticed was the baby. She slept, not the fragile, restless sleep of an infant constantly pulling back from waking, but a deep, settled sleep. Her chest rose and fell in long, even rhythms. Her hands unclenched, her face softened. No alarms, no sudden gasps, no unexplained cries. For the first time since her birth, She slept through the night. The mother woke up in panic at dawn, heart racing, instinct screaming that something must be wrong. But nothing was. The baby was still asleep, safe. Grief doesn't arrive like fear. Fear is sharp, immediate, loud. Grief is quiet. It waits. It shows up in routines that no longer make sense. The mother still filled 2 bowls in the morning before she realized she only needed 1. The father still checked the hallway before bed, expecting to see a familiar shape lying there. They both still lowered their voices near the nursery, out of habit, out of respect, out of loss. They tried to explain Ayla to friends and family. They never succeeded. Some smiled politely, some nodded without understanding. Some said things like, "She was a good dog," or, "At least she lived a full life." None of those words fit. Ayla had not simply lived, she had chosen. The oak tree in the backyard became a place of quiet gravity, not sad, grounded. The father hung Ayla's old K9 tag beneath the collar, letting it catch the light when the wind moved through the leaves. Sometimes, when the baby was restless, the mother would carry her outside and sit beneath the tree. The baby always calmed there, always. Her breathing slowed. Her hands reached outward, fingers flexing as if touching something only she could see. Once, when she was old enough to focus clearly, she laughed beneath the tree, a soft, surprised laugh, the kind that happens when a child feels safe without knowing why. The mother felt tears rise, not from pain but from recognition. Months passed. The baby learned to sit, then crawl, then stand. Each milestone brought joy and fear, because without Ayla, every step forward felt unguarded. But something else had changed too. The house no longer fought back. No shadows returned, no strange sounds, no moments that made the air feel wrong. Whatever had been drawn to vulnerability was gone. Helen came by one last time. She stood beneath the oak tree, hands in her coat pockets, eyes thoughtful. "It's finished," she said. The father asked quietly, "Is she still here?" Helen considered. "Not like before," she said. "But protection doesn't always disappear. Sometimes it transforms." The mother nodded slowly. "Like memory," Helen smiled faintly. "Like legacy." Years later, when the baby was old enough to speak, she asked a question that stopped both parents in their tracks. They were looking at old photos on the couch, pictures of her as a newborn, tiny and fragile, surrounded by blankets, and then a photo of Ayla, large, calm, watchful. The little girl pointed. "Who's that?" The mother swallowed. "That's Ayla." The girl tilted her head. "She stayed with me." The father froze. "What did you say, sweetheart?" "She stayed," the girl repeated simply. "At night, when it was dark." The mother's heart pounded. "What do you mean?" The girl shrugged like it was obvious. "She sat there." She pointed to the space beside her bed. "Like this." She mimicked a dog lying down. The parents exchanged a look. "Does she still come?" the father asked carefully. The girl smiled. "Sometimes." That night, after the child fell asleep, the parents stood in the hallway. The house was quiet, peaceful. They turned off the lights and went to bed. At 2:13 a.m., the mother woke up, not in fear, in familiarity. She listened. Nothing moved, nothing threatened, but the room felt held. She reached for the baby monitor out of habit. The screen showed the child sleeping peacefully. Beside the bed in the corner where shadows used to gather, there was nothing. And yet, the baby sighed, relaxed, settled deeper into sleep. The mother closed her eyes. And for just a moment, she thought she heard it. A soft, familiar sound, not nails on hardwood, not a bark, just the steady rhythm of presence, like something keeping watch. Some guardians protect with teeth and strength. Some protect with training and discipline. Some protect with love born from loss. Ayla had been all of them. She had known grief. She had known purpose. And when the moment came, she chose to stand between danger and something smaller than herself. Not because she was commanded, but because she remembered what it meant to lose. And she refused to let it happen again. Because the purest form of love doesn't need words. It needs instinct. It needs sacrifice. And sometimes, it leaves behind a silence that feels like safety. If this story touched you in any way, take a moment to leave a like. It helps this story reach more people who believe that love and protection go beyond words. Subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Stories about loyalty, instinct, and the silent guardians who protect without ever asking for recognition. And before you go, tell us in the comments, do you believe animals can feel love as deeply as humans? Thank you for staying until the end.